Hello everyone, Sir Owen Disney here. It is Monday. I'm 43 days away from vacation, heading back down south, of course, to my favorite place on planet Earth, Orlando, Florida. And I wanted to throw you guys out a video. Obviously, it is Monday, so because it's Monday, we have a tradition here on Pop, and that is it's time for NXT and Smackdown from this past weekend. And once again, no, touching my nose is not a Carol Burnett thing. It's not a secret code or anything. It's weird. When my camera comes on, my nose itches. It's like clockwork. Not gonna lie there. So 43 days left, and I'll be down yet again. And I'm very excited for that, obviously, because it's always nice to see the time fly by when you're wanting to make it fly by. Now, when you don't want it to fly by, it flies by even faster. So it's really awesome to see that this year, time's flown by so fast. And I can't believe right now it is August 4th. That's insane. It's August 4th. And at the end of this month, AJ and myself are going to start Oscar prediction videos. So that's another thing you're going to be getting. And by the end of this month, we're going to have both Halloween Horror Nights mazes and scare zones announced for both Hollywood and Orlando. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up. And there is some things I wanted to bring up real quick before I get started. First off, hopefully this weekend you enjoyed the content that was on Pop. Friday we had AJ's movie reviews. We talked about Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as Get On Up, The Cavalry, The Signal, and a couple of other films as well. So we had 6 on the videos, like we always do. And Saturday, Ashley was not able to bring you a video, but I was able to shoot you guys out a very interesting video, and even if you're not a fan of Halloween Horror Nights, you might like this video, especially if you're watching this NXT and Smackdown video, because that would mean you're a wrestling fan. If you're a wrestling fan, that would also mean that you probably would understand what I'm talking about. And if you're a wrestling fan, you haven't yet, and you are not familiar with anything involving Halloween Horror Nights, then go back to yesterday's video, or Saturday's video, in this case, sorry I forget what day it is sometimes. Go back to Saturday's video and check out All I Ever Needed to Learn in a Lot about Halloween Horror Nights 24, I learned from pro wrestling. So yes, I know I messed up the title there, but yeah. Basically all I ever needed to learn in life, I learned from pro wrestling. It's kind of like taking off the Star Trek poster. Well, all I ever needed to learn about Halloween Horror Nights 24, I learned from pro wrestling. And I listed a few statements, and I gave people a challenge to figure out what I was talking about. And of course, when the announcements are finally made and the official reveal comes down, I will shoot you guys a video letting you know exactly what was going on. Now, we've got a brand new Versus that just came out yesterday, and hopefully you guys and girls out there enjoyed it. A little on the obscure side. Some movies that don't get enough credit, and 2 movies that were true crimes brought to life on the big screen. And that is Alpha Dog and Bully. And Bully was something I've been wanting to do for a while, like AJ said in the beginning of the video. And it was Bully and Mean Creek, and then we decided to change it because a fan actually wanted to see Alpha Dog. So we put Alpha Dog against Bully, and hopefully you out there enjoyed the video. And the cryptic comment for next week, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a little sentimental about this one for good reason, and no, I'm not telling you why. It is basically going to be a cryptic comment of choreography, and I'll explain what I mean later on, next Sunday when we do the video. So, of course, since it's Monday, we're going to talk about NXT and Smackdown, and I want to go right into that. And real quick, before I get started, I want to welcome everyone to Pop, and hi, I'm Sir Owen Disney. You may or may not know me. And sit around, relax, enjoy the ride. The reason why I think I have a little bit of credibility to do this, I am a former member of the professional wrestling industry. I've done everything. I've been a booker. I have been a in-ring competitor. I've been a manager. I've been a ring announcer. I have ran music. I've set up chairs. I have done commentary. That's where this comes in. And that gives me a little bit of knowledge of what I'm talking about. That's the reason why I do this the way I do this. And I'm probably the only one out there, I might be wrong about that, but I think I'm at least one of the only ones out there that does commentary for his recaps instead of just talking about everything without doing move for move. I know sometimes that's a hindrance, but it makes me unique. So there. Let's talk NXT, shall we? Show starts off with the #1 contender to the NXT Heavyweight Championship, Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze, taking on Angelo Dawkins. And this match was really short. It was basically a one-sided squash. The beauty shot finishes off Dawkins. We see a very one-sided beating, and it was pretty much a very different side of Tyler Breeze than we're used to seeing. And basically, he was showing how fierce he can be, and a lot more of a mean streak that we haven't seen in quite a while, proving that he really wants to take the NXT Championship off Adrian Neville. So after the match is over, he tosses Dawkins to the floor, gets on the mic, and he says, well, that was annoying. He didn't plan on a match, he just wanted to come out here and show you a video. So, of course, the video is of last week when Tyler Breeze came out distracting Adrian Neville in his match against Rusev. Well, after the video is done playing, he says, you know what? I have an announcement to make. A huge announcement to make. This will be trending on Twitter immediately worldwide as soon as it escapes my lips. Finally, I have submitted my music video to the documentary category of the Academy Awards. Well, not to make you look like you don't know what you're talking about, WWE writers, but yes, and I'm not trying to be that guy, because I've never been that guy before. I may need to try that sometime next time I get a Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor Comedy Club at Magic Kingdom. Anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is it wouldn't be a documentary, it would be a documentary short. Obviously, I'm a movie guy, I would know this. And yeah, it would be a documentary short, not just a documentary. But I digress. Adrian Neville comes out and he says, you know what, Tyler, when are you going to stop delaying what's the inevitable? Me beating you, simply put. And Tyler says, I'm getting a call from the Hobbit director, calls out Peter Jackson, not by name, you're needed back on set. So, because apparently they're trading barbs back and forth, Neville retorts and says, you know, I got a Snapchat from your mom, and you're not the only member of the Breeze family who likes to take selfies. So, of course, there's a wild swing from Tyler Breeze, duck, spinning back kick, and a front kick to the face. Comes off the ropes, going for the front drop kick, and Breeze powders. Smart move. Isn't it? It is mainly announced after that there is going to start a #1 contenders tournament next week, as in the NXT coming up this Thursday, for the new contenders to the unstoppable and unbeatable NXT Tag Team Champions, Victor and Connor the Ascension. So that has made an announcement, and NXT is actually starting to get a lot of tag teams come through, and I'm really glad to see it. It's got a really nice tag team division right now. We had our next match of the evening. It is the NXT Women's Champion Charlotte taking on Becky Lynch. Now, I should mention Becky Lynch has given up the Irish jig, and she's more like a... Actually, I'll give you what Renee Young said, and it makes perfect sense to me. She came off looking more like Lita in this situation, actually. She was a house of fire, she had her flaming red hair, and she was ready to fight. So we pick it up midway through this match, and a club to the back, and a clip to the left leg, of course, setting up the working on the one singular body part, given the fact that obviously Charlotte's last name is Flair, so working on the leg makes perfect sense. So it puts her on the ropes, and repeated kicks to the leg, just kind of knotting up the hamstring. A club to the back gets a 2 off of that, and makes another cover, only gets a 1. So she tries to hyperextend the knee by pulling it right out of the socket. An elbow to the back of the neck, and she puts her foot on the bottom rope and she dive bombs down on it, really working on the leg of Becky Lynch here. She does it a second time, and she gets rolled up from behind, 1-2, and Charlotte kicks out. Ducks the clothesline and starts her momentum. 2 clotheslines, a drop kick, standing leg drop by Becky Lynch, and got a 2 count off of that. She goes for a kick, and she gets caught. Charlotte elbows her in the knee, which drops her down, and coincidentally, she literally bows down to the Queen, and that's the end of the match. Really good back and forth, actually. Really enjoyed this match. I like Becky Lynch. I like what she's doing. I mean, I think Alexa Bliss is going to be the diamond in the rough, and I'm not just saying that because of the Disney connection I've immediately made with her. When it comes down to it, I think Alexa Bliss is going to end up being the babyface star of the NXT women's division, but you can't take anything away from Becky Lynch. She's got babyface fire, and I think that actually it will work pretty well to her advantage. That match she had with Charlotte, it was kind of slow, but it worked for me, the way that everything worked out. And Charlotte worked on one body part, and at the end, utilizes one last elbow to the knee, and that softened her up, literally dropped her for the bow down of the Queen, and that was the end. So the Ascension come out for their normal weekly squash. This time it's Mac Miles and Steve Cutler. And Cutler eats the Fall of Man, and, you know, they might as well just cut out the middleman here. Now, granted, this has never been mentioned on WWE television because, with the exception of the time that ECW invaded Raw, right before Barely Legal, in 1997, the Eliminators were never on WWE television outside of ECW. They did that, like I said, they came in, and they were literally the first thing that happened when ECW invaded the Manhattan Center. How appropriate, given what I'm going to talk about on Wednesday. Another company invading the Manhattan Center. But when this happened, obviously the Eliminators at one point were one of the greatest tag teams in the world, John Cronus and Perry Saturn. So, yes, this is interesting because the Ascension have started out basically like heels, like monster heels. To me, I liken the Ascension to the Acolytes of this day and age. You got a big, strong guy, and you got a smaller guy. I know Ron Simmons, you can't say he was small, but compared to Bradshaw, he kind of was. He still was built, but he was small. Even though, to me, Victor reminds me of Christopher Daniels in every way possible. And I really want to see the Ascension against Bad Influence. That needs to happen. The Ascension and Bad Attitude, yeah, that wouldn't go over very well. That would not work at all. But the Ascension against Bad Influence, I definitely want to see that. That'd be awesome to see somewhere down the line. But, basically, they get on the mic and they say they have no competition, but they want to make it known that they're pretty much going to make a challenge to any team in the world. And the team that does win this #1 contendership are going to be just another victim of the Total Anaya Nation. Yeah, why don't they just change the Fall of Man to the Total Anaya Nation? Aliyah Nation instead of Total Elimination. Annihilation. I mean, come on. The Total Annihilation works perfectly, and might as well just call it that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to start doing it, to be totally honest. So, and if you're playing along at home, according to this broadcast of NXT, the Ascension have been tag team champions for 302 days. Excuse me. Speaking of tag teams, our next match features a new tag team, being my least favorite member of the NXT roster, Mojo Rawley, and the going nowhere fast Bull Dempsey, and they're taking on the returning Scott Dawson and his new tag team partner, Dash Wilder. Now, they're calling themselves the Mechanics, and I do see a feud with Sylvester Lefort and Marcus Louis, the Legionnaires, in their future. Obviously, we have to play up the fact that Dawson is a former stablemate of Sylvester Lefort when he was doing the Legionnaires back before Dawson broke his leg. So I said a long time ago this would lead to a feud, and sure enough, if you read some of the house show results, which of course have nothing to do with what I'm talking about here, you would see that they're already facing off. Excuse me. So this match was short, sweet, and to the point. Reminded me like old school NWA tag team match. Both teams cut off the ring at opposite times. Both teams showed tag team continuity. And they showed that they belong together as a team. I still don't like Mojo Rawley, and no one is going to make me like Mojo Rawley. But Bull Dempsey is fine. they throw around the word throwback. He kind of reminds me somewhat of a Koloff, like an Americanized Koloff, obviously, because we know Koloffs were not American. Well, the gimmick was not American, obviously. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of something like that. And, you know, I think that Bulk is going to go somewheres in NXT, but I don't think the crowd is really bought into him yet. I will say Mojo only has, like I said, he has the Chad Cross fan club, and he basically showed 4 guys in the top of Full Sail in the bleachers wearing Get Hype shirts, wearing Zubaz pants as well. So, yeah, that's awesome. So yes, of course, more tag team wrestling is good because obviously this is leading towards the new contenders to the Ascension. So any of these tag team matches obviously work because they're obviously leading towards an actual goal. So Bayley is in the back, and she's quite happy. She's quite happy that the BFFs broke up. She pinned Charlotte. It was a non-title match, but she still got the pin. Charlotte basically tells Bayley she might have bit off a little bit more than she can chew, and she might not want to go down this path. She's adorable, but you know, you stole one victory, and that makes you think you can beat me again. Yeah, you're not ready for a title shot. I pity you, but you never need to utter my name again. So, real quick before I get started, obviously sometimes I read too fast and forget things. The end of the last match, Mojo and Bull went over with the bulldozer on Dash after multiple Mojo splashes in the corner. It's officially announced that this week on NXT you're going to see the feud between Xavier Woods and CJ Parker continue. So the question is, are Kofi Kingston and Big E coming to NXT to get some revenge on CJ Parker? I'm not sure. I think they might actually split this apart. I don't think that they're going to really utilize that. That would make CJ Parker a babyface, and yeah, that didn't work the last time. It's not going to work this time. So we get our main event of the evening. It is one-on-one. It is Adam Rose with the Rosebuds. Of course, see Captain Comic in that list, and he's going to face off against Tyson Kidd. So this match was good. And for those of you that just know Adam Rose from his matches on Raw and SmackDown, his very short matches on Raw and SmackDown, and have no knowledge of the gimmick of Leo Kruger in NXT, you need to watch this match. Because this will show you that Adam Rose is actually a very credible wrestler, and he actually can carry on quite an extensive match with a lot of really good back and forth action. And he's not just a one-hit wonder like he appears to be in WWE. We pick it up midway through the match, and Tyson posts Adam Rose on the floor and whips him hard in the ring post, tosses him in, drops the leg 1-2 and a kick out, drops an elbow, and chokes him on the bottom rope with his knee. A slingshot leg drop to the back of the head of Adam Rose gets a 2 count, and he locks in a chin lock. Rose punches his way out, and he goes for a sleeper, does Tyson, countered by a jawbreaker from Adam Rose, and Rose gets knocked to the floor. Tosses him in, he ties him up in the Tree of Woe, and repeated knees by Kidd. Basically, the referee was trying to make sure he was out of the corner and out of 5, so he doesn't get disqualified. He pulls back on the neck for good measure, a kick, and he steps on the head of Adam Rose. Whips him in, charges in, he eats Rose's back elbow, gets a 2 on Rose. A grounded chin lock, and Rose creates separation with a backdrop suplex to break the hold. He charges in, he gets the boot up, and he kicks off Tyson Kidd. Kidd rolls back, charges in with a shoulder and a big forearm, ducks the right hand, and Rose with the snap jabs. A big right hand off the ropes. Choo-choo and the clothesline in the corner. Goes for the party foul, and it gets stopped with a back kick to the ribs from Tyson. Charges in, he eats the spine buster, and 1-2, Tyson Kidd kicks out. Goes for the party foul again, and Rose this time is countered into a roll-up. Tyson grabs the legs going for the sharpshooter, and Rose gets to the ropes, causing for the break. Slingshot to the middle rope by Tyson Kidd, and Adam Rose gets knocked to the floor. Tyson kicks him in the jaw off the ring apron, tosses him in, gets distracted momentarily by Natalya, and inside cradle from Adam Rose, 1-2-3, and Adam Rose wins this. Good back and forth match, really enjoyable contest. Like I said, for those of you who haven't seen anything of Adam Rose outside of his WWE stuff, watch this. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen him do. It's not anything like the Leo Kruger stuff, but it'll give you an idea somewhat of what Adam Rose is actually capable of if they actually let him do anything in the ring. What would I recommend on this NXT show? Honestly, I'd recommend Charlotte and Becky Lynch. It was short, but it was effective. I would recommend, if anything, just to check out what the tag team division is going to end up becoming. You can see the Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson mechanics match against Bull Dempsey and Mojo Rawley. And check out the main event of Adam Rose and Tyson Kidd. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's talk SmackDown, shall we? Show starts off with Cesaro, and his air raid siren has been replaced by an ambulance. Okay. And he's facing off against Jack Swagger. So, oh, how the mighty have fallen. We pick it up midway through the match, and in this case, it's after the commercial break. Swagger is on the top turnbuckle, and Cesaro is on the top rope, peppering him with right hands. He goes for the superplex, Swagger counters, and punches him off. He knocks him off the top, and leaps off into a Swiss uppercut from Cesaro, 1-2, and Swagger kicks out. Charges in, and he gets the boot up, charges in to a boot, but a right hand whip in, and it's reversed. Cesaro gets the boot up, stopping Swagger's momentum. Goes to the middle rope, dives off, and he gets caught with a huge takedown from Swagger, 1-2, and a kick out. Swagger hits the Swagger bomb this time, gets 2.5 off of it, and Cesaro, momentum carries him to the ring apron. When Swagger gets back up, Cesaro catches him with a neck snap across the top rope. And when he gets back in the ring, double underhook, Tiger Bomb from Cesaro, 1-2, and a kick out. Comes off the ropes, a straight kick to the face, and then he stomps him down, basically trying to get his former tag team partner to stay down. Zeb with a slight distraction. Cesaro let himself get wrapped up in Zeb, chatting with him, like jawing with him on the floor. And this allows Cesaro to go for a boot. It gets caught, turned into the Patriot Lock, and Cesaro has to give it up. The winner is Jack Swagger, and this new babyface push is working really well. Once again, I know what you could say about this, and I might be what it says on my shirt right now if you believe that I'm saying this, but honestly, when it comes down to it, and I'm not just saying it because I'm biased, I think there's more of an upside to it in some ways, but in other ways I understand why. I really wish that this babyface push, this monster, colossal, soon-to-be the king of the industry babyface push that Roman Reigns is getting, I really wish this was Cesaro. I really do wish this was Cesaro. But eventually it'll happen. I do know that his babyface run has been put on hold until Roman Reigns gets put into place. So it'll happen eventually, but not quite yet. So we get this, and Swagger wins a good back-and-forth match with his former tag team partner, the Real Americans. Here comes Rusev and Lana, and they're waving flags, and Lana officially makes the challenge for the match at SummerSlam that I've been talking about for months, that it was written in the stars, and that's a segue to later on in the show. And that is for the Rusev and Swagger flag match. And like I said before, 100% I truly believe that what this match is going to do is going to give you a way to have Rusev not get pinned, Rusev not have to tap out, but Rusev will still lose to Jack Swagger because all he has to do is capture the flag. So I think Swagger is over at SummerSlam, and then maybe we go on and we finish the feud at Night of Champions, or maybe SummerSlam's the end of it. Who knows? Maybe this is just ending at SummerSlam and Rusev will go on to different things. I do know it sounds more and more likely from what I keep hearing that Rusev is the next United States champion. He's the one that's going to take the title off Sheamus. But in order for that to happen, he has to end this feud with Swagger. What I could see happening is Swagger wins and Rusev ends up coming out during Sheamus' match on Raw the night after SummerSlam and starting that feud, and then they have their official match at Night of Champions. That's what I can see happening. I don't know if you put the title on Rusev at Night of Champions or not. What I would do if it were me, I would have Rusev lose by disqualification, like he beats Sheamus up too much, and Sheamus wins by DQ, and then at Hell in a Cell in October, you can have Rusev take the title, and then Rusev could carry the title into TLC, and then carry it in a rematch with Sheamus at the Royal Rumble. That's what I think they could do. And that's what I think they probably will do. But the flag match, yeah, I've been calling that for months now. So there. Someone is watching these videos. So Randy Orton comes out after the commercial break, and he says he has no issue with Brock Lesnar whatsoever. Of course not. They both started out in OVW together. His issue is with Roman Reigns, always sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. It's his right to become the champion. Again. And Roman Reigns keeps raining on the party. He sent a clear message on Monday night. Obviously, he dared him to step into the ring at SummerSlam. He says he will inject the poison into his veins and to believe in that. I like the new Randy Orton. I like the Randy Orton that cares. Haven't seen it in quite a while, and it's quite a welcome change from the going through the motions we've seen from Orton previously. I like this. It seems like it's actually going to work out. Interesting to see how their match in SummerSlam goes in 2 weeks. Good Lord, I can't believe it's so quick. Your next match, of course, is playing up what happened on Raw, and that is the fact that R-Truth is the man who broke the undefeated streak of Bo Dallas, and of course, Bo wants a rematch, and that's what we have here. We pick it up midway through the match, and Truth misses a splash in the corner, and of course, we get the short arm elbows, and Bo goes to the well once too often, and he ends up getting rolled up 1-2 and a kick out, and basically gets rolled up with a nice backslide from Truth, 1-2 and a kick out. He nails a crossbody off the ropes, gets a 2, and Bo just can't pin Truth down for any reason right here. So he starts kicking him in the corner, and then the repeated clotheslines in the corner, and then he punches him in the ropes. Referee has no choice but to call for the bell, disqualification. After the match is over, Bo lays Truth out, gets on the mic, and says, I believe that Truth got exactly what was coming to him. See, Bo leaving is a spiritual thing. And all of you out there, no matter if you'll admit it or not, I know you all still believe in me. And of course, Bo believes in himself. I love the Bo Dallas gimmick. I always have loved the Bo Dallas gimmick, and I think it works really well in this version. I would say that if this does not finish up by then, I would say this is probably going to be your SummerSlam kickoff match. That's what I'm actually thinking. I'm thinking Truth and Bo Dallas is the match at SummerSlam. The SummerSlam kickoff that airs before the show. Who knows at this point? I might be wrong. This may finish quicker than that, but who knows? I could see Truth joining Kofi, Xavier Woods, and Big E, along with the leader, which will end up being Mark Henry, somewhere down the line, but not quite yet, because obviously we haven't really got anything from this. Our next match, if you want to call it that, is the return to television of the person that only has a job now because Total Divas has her on the show. Yeah, E! Network wanted her on Total Divas, so she still has a job. She probably would have been cut a while back. I think she's gorgeous, but she's not the greatest in-ring competitor. And that is Rosa Mendez, and she is facing off against the Divas champion AJ Lee. I wrote on this, and I thought it was funny, and it said, literally, talk crap, get slapped. And not just a regular slap, no, she just got the spinning back kick from AJ. AJ comes off the ropes, satellite into the Black Widow, and tap, it's over. AJ goes up the ramp to celebrate after the match is over. Paige comes from behind, shoves her off the ramp, and AJ actually hit the cameraman, honestly. So AJ's down on the floor, got shoved off the ramp, shoved to the concrete by Paige. Fans, of course, going nuts for this. Really hate Paige for what she did to AJ. And basically, Paige is being very spiteful. She's actually saying a lot of interesting things. She's like, AJ, I still love you. And, oh, stop overreacting. And get up. And it's like, she's fine. And be careful. That's my best friend. I love this. I love this greatly. I think that heel Paige and AJ are going to have quite a feud coming into SummerSlam. What I'm thinking right now, honestly, there is a report on .com right now that is stating that AJ has suffered a whiplash injury, and she may or may not be in action on Raw tomorrow, or today in this case, since today is Monday. I'll be recapping it tomorrow, so that'll work. But yeah, that's what we've got on that one. So, yeah, that's where we're going with this. This attack makes me think that this will be a hardcore match at SummerSlam between these two. I think AJ attacks Paige during a Paige match, and turnabout is fair play, and then we get a hardcore match stipulation for SummerSlam. I know that they are leading towards a stip match, and in a perfect world, this would be a First Blood match. But in a PG era, two divas bleeding is not what the shareholders want. So obviously, this is just going to be a straight-up, balls-to-the-wall hardcore match. And that's what I think we're leading towards. And I think it's going to be a knockdown drag-out, and it's going to show a lot of people that watched Battleground and didn't really like the match that came out of it, what AJ and Paige together are truly capable of. So we get Dean Ambrose in the back, and he says that Seth Rollins must feel kind of safe because he's brought a chaperone with him. I was nowhere Triple H was in his corner. And no, he's got Kane in his corner, obviously. They're doing the handicap match deal tonight. And he says he's willing to go through Kane and doesn't care what he has to do. And, of course, he's going to get revenge no matter what. So, that's pretty much it. That picks up our next match. What is our handicap match? It is Dean Ambrose against Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, and Kane. We pick it up midway through, and a sidewalk slam off the ropes on Ambrose gets a 2 count. Tag in a Rollins. Rollins comes in. He goes for the turnbuckle powerbomb. Ambrose counters the backdrop out of it. And he clotheslines Rollins over the top rope to the floor. Kane charges in to try to attack, and he gets low-bridged over the top. And, of course, this connects with a tope to both Kane and Rollins on the floor. He tosses Rollins in for good measure, and Dean drop-toe holds Kane into the ring steps. Of course, that means it's now one-on-one, because Kane has been taken out of the equation, at least momentarily. So he thinks about it, and of course, he slides under the bottom rope, double legs Rollins, and starts pounding the daylights out of him. Punches and stomps and vicious strikes in the corner, and he beels Seth out of the corner with ferocity, grabs Rollins while he's in the ropes trying to escape, and Kane ends up pulling him to the outside and sending him over the barricade into Justin Roberts land. And for those of you that are not Pop viewers, normally Justin Roberts land is another nice way for me to say the Timekeeper's area. That's where Justin Roberts chills out. So, Dean with a chair shot to the back of Kane, which of course the disqualification is called for there. Bell rings, and of course he hits Kane in the ribs. Actually, sorry, long day. He hits a rib shot on Rollins and then one in the lower back. And then when he tries to take advantage again, he eats the big boot by Kane, and a choke slam by Kane is countered. Kane gets DDT'd on a steel chair that he set up in place himself. You know, setting up your own demise. I've done it before. So, Rollins runs away and lives again to fight another day, and of course after the match is over, since the match is over and Rollins is already bombed out, Ambrose is going to take out his frustrations on Kane, and he whips him with a chair, and he uses the chair to send Kane out of the ring to the floor. The feud between Rollins and Ambrose has definitely reached a fever pitch, and I think that the match at SummerSlam is going to be amazing. If I didn't think that this was going to be a hardcore match with AJ and Paige, I would say that the right answer with Ambrose and Rollins is no holds barred. It might be false count anywhere. It could go either way. It's anyone's guess. I think there will be a stipulation match between the two at SummerSlam, and it's the right direction to go. But the problem is, if you do a stipulation match in their first official match, it doesn't work. So I would do a singles match here, do a stip match between the two at Night of Champions. That's what I would do in this case. Maybe a ladder match. Maybe do a ladder match. There you go. That's it. Ambrose wins at SummerSlam, and we do a ladder match with the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line at Night of Champions. Practically writes itself. So, we get Renee Young in the back talking to Chris Jericho, and Jericho says the Battleground was his night, 100%. But even he can't beat 3-on-1 odds. But he's decided that if he can beat Eric Rowan tonight, he's going to be barred from ringside at SummerSlam. Obviously, that means 1 down, 2 ugly spiders left to go. He says he will beat Rowan. He says if the Wyatt fam wants to get crazy, he can get crazy. And after SummerSlam, they will never, ever be the same again. So, good stuff as always. We get our weekly strange, weird, twisted promo from Goldust and Stardust. And they're still looking for that cosmic key, obviously. Cosmic key are around the waists of the Usos right now, so they need to look that way. And of course, the Usos will be setting up a 4-way for the WWE Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam, and I think we start that build tonight on Raw. And I think it's going to be the Usos, and I think it's going to be Goldust and Stardust, which I think win some sort of a way to get in that match. And then the last team, well, then we have the Wyatt family, and then the final team will be Xavier Woods' team of Big E and Kofi, which I think is the right direction to go. Because obviously you have to do something with the new talent, and you have to do something with that storyline to get it kick-started, and that's exactly what I think they're going to do. Now, I wanted to see the fourth team be the Ascension, but it's not time yet. I think it will happen, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. I think we see the Ascension before the end of the year, potentially, but at worst-case scenario right now, the Ascension don't debut until the Rumble. Or maybe you debut them the night after the Royal Rumble. That could possibly work. Excuse me. Maybe have, like, the tag team champions be baby faces, like the Usos. Say the Usos are tag champions. They're getting beaten down by the heel team, and then the Ascension make the save, and they say that we want the tag team title match. It's all about respect, stuff like that. We could possibly do that. So, of course, we get another match in the ongoing feud of Fandango, and he is facing off against Diego again this time. So, yeah, I hate where this is going. Obviously, I'm a Fandango fan, a big Fandango fan. I hate to see what they're doing with him, but obviously the end game here is him getting a new dance partner to get revenge on Summer Rae and Layla. I like the spot in this match, and I pick it up midway through. Diego goes for a slingshot senton, and Fandango throws the knee out. So it's a slingshot senton into a backbreaker. It was really nice by Fandango. He got a cover there, but it was all for nothing. Torito gets on the apron for the distraction, and Fandango chases him around. Torito hides behind the skirt, and I can say that literally, of Summer Rae and Layla, and of course they are protecting him from Fandango doing any damage to him at this point. He gets back in the ring, a neck snap on Diego when he tries to come back in, and at this point you have Fandango's music plays and Layla and Summer Rae dance with Torito. This distraction allows for Fandango to have his back turned. Diego hits the backstabber and gets a 3 there, so Diego wins, and after the match is over, Diego, Torito, and Summer Rae and Layla dance. Yeah, the less said about this, the better. I really hope there's an end game here that doesn't involve Johnny Curtis getting future endeavored. There's an upside to Fandango, and I really wish that they could find it right now. It just upsets me because they're not doing anything with it. I understand why, because not everybody can get pushed, and I know what this is doing. It's nice seeing Diego actually getting pushed. I really wish they would have pushed him when he was Primo. They don't need the stupid Matador gimmick to get him over. I think he should just take the mask off and he can go back to being Primo, and they can do something else with Torito. I could care less, honestly. Like I said, I like Masquerade Dorada, but, I mean, I don't care anymore. I just do not care anymore. The only thing that got me to care was the feud with Hornswoggle, and since he has gone to film the Leprechaun reboot, yeah, there's no reason for me to care at this point. So, hopefully there'll be something in the future. We get our semi-main event of the evening. It is Dolph Ziggler taking on Alberto Del Rio, the match million of their ongoing feud. And of course, The Miz looking Johnny Cage, as always, sitting at ringside on commentary. We pick it up midway through. Dolph goes for the name dropper, gets countered. German suplex by ADR, gets a 2 off of that. And goes for the GSK. GSK is ducked. Dolph with the exclamation point DDT. The Miz, of course, gets on the mic and says, "Quiet on the set, I need to continue the speech I was so rudely interrupted last time in giving, and that is my acceptance speech for the Intercontinental Championship." And, of course, he thanks the same thing. He thanks his family, he thanks his dogs and his cats, pumpkin spice latte, and mocha, as well as thanks Maurice without naming it. And, of course, this ends up having Dolph get distracted. Del Rio rolls him up, hooks the tights, 1-2. Dolph kicks out. So Del Rio goes for the step-up enziguri kick in the corner. Dolph ducks out and hits the name dropper, 1-2, and Del Rio kicks out. Miz thanks Dolph for being the one to lose to him and basically saying that The Miz is better than Dolph. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. Dolph goes out, attacks The Miz. Miz tries to escape through the crowd. Dolph gets his hands on him, but Miz does escape. Dolph gets back into the ring, and a step-up enziguri kick while he's on the ring apron connects. When he gets back in, of course, he is knocked back in by the sheer force of the enziguri kick from Del Rio. Del Rio locks on the cross-arm breaker, and that's the end. So yeah, the feud between Dolph and The Miz will continue, and Dolph and The Miz will be on a collision course at SummerSlam. This was supposed to be, at least what we thought it would be. We thought it was supposed to be a feud with Bo Dallas as the third man. But right now, it looks like Bo Dallas is feuding with R-Truth. So I would say this is a one-on-one Cleveland versus Hollywood either way match. So yeah, I think that that's probably what's going to end up happening. And I don't have an issue with that. It's the battle of my t-shirt collection. There's not more t-shirts in my wrestling t-shirt collection than Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm a big fan of Mike Mizanin, and I have been since The Real World. And I've always been a fan of Dolph Ziggler, so there's always that. So let's pick it up for our main event. And our main event is Chris Jericho taking on Eric Rowan. Rowan, of course, has Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt in his corner. Bray, of course, in the rocking chair. And before the match gets started, before Jericho even comes out, he cuts his normal promo. In this case, he says, "Why is it that you keep coming back here, Chris Jericho? Is it for the thrill? Is it for all these bright, shining lights? You know, the fireflies? Is it for the rush you get when people start chanting your name? Or perhaps, maybe, Chris Jericho, you came back this time because you knew that I would be right here waiting for you. Today, you are dirty, Chris Jericho, but after SummerSlam, you will be just dirt. And you may not know this, but she warned me about you." Obviously talking about Abigail here. "She told me that you would wear the mask of deception. She said that every word that would fly out of your mouth would be yet another empty promise. She said that you would ride in on your white horse and you would shout down from the mountaintops. They see right through you, Chris. You're trying to save us all. You're a liar. You lied to us all. They only hear my words now. They only see my visions. And at SummerSlam, they will see their savior, Bray Wyatt, destroy the imposter that is Chris Jericho. There is no dignity left in your martyrdom, Chris. There is only your demise. And at SummerSlam, you will save no one, especially yourself." Great Wyatt promo as usual. And of course, this match is with the added caveat that if Eric Rowan loses, he is barred from ringside at SummerSlam. And you would think that on Raw tonight, Jericho is going to face Luke Harper with the same stipulation. Now, there's two ways to go with this before I get into the match. Number one, Harper wins, and he's still at ringside, so he can still get involved. Two, Harper loses, and Bray has to beat Jericho on his own. I don't have an issue with that. Either way, honestly, both of them could work. So let's pick it up midway through this match. It is Chris Jericho and Eric Rowan, and Rowan goes for the Bane backbreaker, and he gets a 2 off of that, drops an elbow, and Jericho stops his momentum when they both get to a vertical base. 3 vicious chops. Jericho ends up getting tossed into the corner by Rowan, and a club to the chest viciously. High velocity whip to the buckle, and he kicks Jericho out of the ring to the floor. A forearm, he picks him up and rams him back first into the ring post, tosses him in, get a 2 off of that, and a neck twist by Rowan. Jericho punches his way out, and chop, chop, whip is reversed this time, ducks the clothesline. Jericho's crossbody is caught, and of course, Rowan looking for the fall-away slam, and it gets countered into a Jericho swing DDT, gets a 2 off of that. 3 kicks to the ribs while he's on all fours, and he goes to the middle rope, connects with a missile dropkick on Rowan, gets a 2 off of that. Jericho charges in, and Rowan makes him eat a spinning heel kick. I have never seen Eric Rowan hit a spin kick before, and it looked awesome. Booker T style, looked great actually, I loved it. Knee in the midsection, and a boot to the side of the head off the ropes, a headbutt when he gets back up, and he catches the boot. Jericho rolls him up 1-2, and a kick out. Ducks the clothesline, Jericho hits him with an enziguri kick, and the drop kick to the side of the head on Rowan. Hits the lion salt to the lower back, rolls him over 1-2, Rowan kicks out. So he charges in, and Rowan gets the elbow up in the corner, and he barrels into Jericho off the ropes. He just basically just runs him over like a Mack truck. I thought that was, I didn't say it was a big rig. I said it was a Mack truck. There's a difference. Again, a Mack truck is a big rig. If it was a big rig, this would be a Luke Harper match. I just saved that joke for their match tonight on Raw. So, he puts him on the buckle for the fall-away slam, to set up for the fall-away slam off the top. Jericho punches his way out and ends up knocking Rowan off. He charges in to a vicious forearm. Jericho goes up top. He dives off, and he eats the big boot from Rowan. 1-2, Jericho kicks out right before 3. So Rowan goes for his old faithful, and that is the ragdolling of Chris Jericho. And he locks in the bear hug, and he swings it from side to side to side to side. and eventually gets picked up, and Jericho shimmies out and sends Rowan into the corner, chest first. When Rowan comes back around, Jericho hits the code breaker, 1, 2, 3, and Chris Jericho wins the main event here on SmackDown. Bray's beside himself, takes his hat off, Corporal Hagarden style, and he looks like he's ready to fight, just smiles, puts his arms out, and walks away. More mind games from the Master Manipulator, and that's how we go home on SmackDown. I enjoyed the show. What I'd recommend, Cesaro and Swagger, good stuff. And Randy Orton's promo. Like I said, Randy Orton rejuvenated, revitalized. I think it works awesomely. I'm liking Randy Orton right now. I never thought I'd say that. But yeah, Randy Orton was so stagnant and stale. It was just like watching paint dry. But now, I really like what they're doing with Randy Orton. I like that his personality, again, is coming out. Now, granted, Randy Orton's storyline personality doesn't come out very much. But I like the Apex Predator right now. I think it works pretty well. I would definitely recommend checking out when Paige shoved AJ off the ramp. Yeah, that was entertaining. A nice stretcher job AJ did, too. Ambrose against Rollins and Kane was alright. I mean, I've seen better stuff between these two. It was alright. It worked pretty well to continue the feud between Rollins and Ambrose, because obviously we want to see both of them rip each other's heads off. And, Dolph and Del Rio have had better matches, but it wasn't bad. It was a good match, and I like the interaction with The Miz on the floor. And The Miz, of course, set up the win, and I think The Miz faces someone on Raw tonight, and Dolph does the exact same thing to The Miz, causing him to lose. Turnabout is fair play. So I think we get a non-title match with The Miz taking on someone tonight, and Dolph is the reason that he loses. Honestly, what I would do in this situation, totally what I would do in this situation, and this is not because I'm biased, you know who needs to beat The Miz tonight in a non-title match? Zack Ryder. I think Zack, and this fits perfectly to truth and reality, because obviously, if you watch Zack Ryder's Z True Long Island story, I don't know how many of you out there did, you would know that Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler had a feud, a legitimate feud, and they had the stickers and everything, they were awesome, and they were going to fight for the title at SummerSlam. This is when Dolph was actually getting pushed, and Ziggler was getting pushed, of course, and Zack Ryder was somewhat getting pushed, the U.S. title, and they had a nice series of matches for the United States Championship, and then, of course, Zack Ryder kind of swept under the rug. What needs to happen tonight is you need to have The Miz, in a non-title match, lose to Zack Ryder with Dolph Ziggler's interference. Everything comes full circle that way. And obviously, Dolph lost to Del Rio on this SmackDown. I think Ryder needs to beat The Miz tonight with Dolph's help. I guess the perfect way to do it. And if anything, you just do a distraction at the end, and you have the zigzag. Would have been the end right there. But what I would do is have Dolph do a distraction, Miz walks into the Rough Rider, and 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So yeah, that's what I think. I think Zack Ryder needs to win tonight because of Dolph Ziggler, and that would furthermore push the idea that Dolph and the Miz are on a collision course, and also gives Zack Ryder a very important win on television, and also puts him in a contendership for the Intercontinental Championship. Whether they want to push the button on that or not, they still would have the ammunition if they wanted to, and I think that's the right direction to go. So, of course, we have Jericho, and Eric Rowan was good. I'd recommend that. I'd say it was a little on the slow side, but it worked, because Rowan has a very methodical pace. I love the fact he busted out the spinning heel kick. That was really awesome, by the way. And the finish came out of nowhere. It worked really well. I like the interactions between the Wyatt family and Chris Jericho. I do think they have the match on Raw tonight, and I do think that we have Jericho try to beat Harper, and he's not able to. So Harper beats Jericho, and we lead that to being Bray Wyatt with Harper in his corner against Jericho at SummerSlam, leading to Jericho, of course, losing to Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam, making up for the match at Battleground, and Jericho losing the feud once and for all on my birthday, September 21st, at Night of Champions. That's what I think is going to end up happening. I think what happens is Jericho has to beat both men, both Rowan and Harper, in a gauntlet match to get another crack at Bray Wyatt. That's what I think is going to lead to their match at Night of Champions. And then Bray will go on to different things at Hell in a Cell in October. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Raw this week should be interesting. Both Brock Lesnar and John Cena will not be on the show. Should be interesting to see what we do with that. I did not mention anything about Stephanie and Brie, because of course it's a SmackDown, I can't really talk about that. But yeah, that is coming up at SummerSlam as well. Should be interesting to see. Interesting way to end the show last week on Raw. And there's a lot of stuff still to come. Like I said, Sheamus, He's the United States champion. He'll probably be on Raw tonight. I would say that's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. Rusev and Swagger leading towards the flag match that I called months ago. That's coming up at SummerSlam, and who knows, maybe we'll see some debuts soon. Maybe after SummerSlam we'll get some NXT superstars coming to the main roster. Who knows? So that's the video for this week, and wrestling fans, join me tomorrow, actually, for Monday Night Raw from later tonight. Obviously, I'm going to recap that, and that'll be your tomorrow video. Wrestling fans in general, join me Wednesday, where we'll talk Impact Wrestling, and Destination X happened last Thursday, and I'm going to talk all about it, and all about how I think that TNA is being written off way too early right now. Don't write him off just yet. It's just like I said, it's like the Hugh Grant song for music and lyrics. Don't write him off just yet. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Thursday, honestly, I don't know. We'll find out. But a little birdie is telling me there's a possibility that before the day is over, there will be a Halloween Horror Nights announcement. Maybe a dual announcement. Maybe a dual announcement. Or maybe not. Who knows? It just kind of depends. We get a dual announcement tonight, and it sounds to me like if that happens, there could possibly be another announcement tomorrow. And if that does happen, I will shoot you guys out a video and talk all about it. And if I think that's going to happen, I do think it will, then I will be joining you guys later tonight before I even do the Raw recap. And both of those videos will be available tomorrow here on Pop. So, also, on top of that, this Friday comes AJ's movie reviews. We're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're talking Step Up, All In, 100-Foot Journey, and the final movie is Into the Storm. And, of course, that's coming up. And it's official, we are getting Boyhood, and that's coming out the week of the Expendables. So, Boyhood and Magic in the Moonlight is coming to Pop very soon, and as much to AJ's chagrin, Sharknado 2 is actually going to be reviewed on Pop very soon as well. So, yeah, that was your video, and of course, this Saturday, Ashley returns to Pop with his Gaming with Ash segment, and then Sunday finishes off the week with Versus Cryptic Comet is choreography. So yeah, that's the week here on Pop. And as always, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook and click like on that Facebook fan page. It is Sir Owen Disney Pop, one word on Facebook. Send me your friend request if you'd like. It's Owen Disney on Facebook. If you care to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. Last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions. You want to talk WWE, TNA, you want to talk SummerSlam in general, talk about my history in the wrestling business. You want to talk about Halloween Horror Nights, Universal, Disney. You want to become a popcaster yourself, send content to this channel to be put on this channel. Or if you would just like to ask me questions that I can't answer on here for good reason, send me an email, siroandisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Enjoy Raw tonight, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.